Welcome to another episode of Gaming for Grandparents. Today we're going to do a multi-part series. So there'll be 3 parts, and the final part will be on Halloween. So happy Halloween, everyone. If you enjoy this content, it is free to subscribe. So let's get into this game. This is the main character that we will be working with throughout the game. This is a storyline game, so there will be animation throughout the game. Detective Dupin, I ask that you come with all due haste to discuss this matter that I fear cannot be delayed. I would like you to find the resting place of my recently departed beloved Victorine. Should you accept this, please seek me out as soon as you arrive. This is Dark Tales, Edgar Allan Poe's The Premature Burial. So this is a hidden object game, and what we're going to do is look for different clues so that we can advance to the next stage. When my little mouse changes to an eye, that means that I need to look at something. When it changes to a hand, that means I can grab something. So you can play with hints on or hints off. I always just play with hints on because I'm just playing casually.
I must have my revenge.
My word, what was that? Some manner of specter seems to have crossed our path. Perhaps the crash has done a number on my eyes. Regardless, I don't believe we'll be traveling by coach anytime soon. We'll have to venture forth on foot. Fortunately, the town is not far off. Let's clear this tree from the road and be on our way.
Okay, so the game is now officially starting. It's pointing towards the notebook, which will show me different clues or different things that we've already witnessed. So it'll capture the scene like the one that we just saw, and then just talk about that scene. I find when it comes to sometimes passwords will be caught in these pages, so that's pretty much the only time that I use the notebook. I don't really go back and relive each one of these memories because I don't feel like I need to because they're not really helping progress the game. But now it's a hint is telling me to, hey, look over there, it's sparkling. So anytime you see the glittering or sparkling, that means that there's something there and you want to move your mouse over to that area. So my mouse has turned into an eyeball. When I click it, the mouse turns into a hand and I can grab this saw. This scene will continue to sparkle because I need to open up that grate and get what's behind it. So that's why it's going to continue to show the eyeball or the glittering sparkle. So the saw is showing up at the bottom of my screen in the inventory box right there. So I grab it so I can start cutting this tree out of the way so we can move on up the road. But I'm first grabbing a stick because apparently I need a stick before I cut that tree out of the way. But I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting the tree with the saw and clearing that tree out of the way. And yes, I know if we were walking, we could have actually just walked around this entire tree and not have to saw through it. But in order to progress the game, we had to clear the tree. So I moved the mouse around the area because I'm not done with this scene. And I come here and I see that I've got sparkling things and I found an oil can. So all these things will probably help me so it goes into the inventory. Now I'm still not done with this scene and I know that because it allows me to continue to look in this area. So now I've used that stick that I just cut to grab this chain off of this wagon. Now I'm back to moving the mouse around the scene. I have an eye. There's something in here And it says I'd feel better reaching into that hole if there was some type of light so we could see what's in there. So we can't do anything about that section. So we've now gone through this entire scene. There's nothing else we can do here. We're going to have to move to the next scene. What's this?
Our patron, Julien, lives in the town ahead, just beyond the ridge. A man of low means and fond of literature, he fell in love with a woman of high society named Victorine Lafourcade. Madame Lafourcade reciprocated Julien's feelings, but due to her societal status, she was married to a wealthy banker whom she did not love, Monsieur Renel Foray.
So we're back to looking in this area here, and we found a gas flask. We also found the obituary page of the newspaper for Victorine. The very last sentence says, out of respect for her untimely passing, a small private burial was held. Nothing is said about where she's buried, but it's Victorine's obituary. She was buried 2 days ago under strange circumstances, and we must investigate. Okay, so we move our mouse around and we see we've got a flower here. So this is the first of 33 roses you can collect for a bouquet. So we have to find all these roses pretty much in every scene. So I'm going to continue to look around this scene to see if there's anything else, and I'm pointed out to this dry lamp. Now we need to figure out how to light it and what all we need to do with it. Since I can't find anything else in this section, I'm going to move forward and look at the next scene to see if it can help. A lighter can help me with that lamp, so that's a good thing. Now I'm seeing this chain could be hooked up there. So the chain that I found in the first scene, I just applied to this scene. And now we have a mini game puzzle where I have to move each one of those gold blocks around until all the gears can rotate. I'm missing a block, so I can't finish this puzzle yet. So let's keep looking. So I'm just moving the mouse around. Now I have found a little switch lever. I'm not sure when I'm going to be using that, but I don't find anything else in this area, so I'm going to go backwards. And I use the lighter on the lamp. So now I'm going to use the lamp and go back to this tree. Oh good, it's only a squirrel. Well, now I need to find something to distract the squirrel. So now I've got to go back and look and see what I might have missed in all these other scenes. So it looks like I missed those berries that were in that scene. So now I'm going to go back to the tree, give the berries to the squirrel to see what the squirrel is hiding. The squirrel moves out of the way, and I found my gold block that I'm missing. So now I can go finish that puzzle. So I open the box up, I place the block in there, and now I've got to move each one of these bars around until I can get all the gears to move. I do have the option of skipping this, and I can just very easily hit the skip button once it pops up, but this is actually an easy puzzle to put together or move around, so I don't have a problem going ahead and doing it. So all the green dots are there and all the gears are moving, which lowered the bridge, so now I can advance to the next scene. But before I do, I need to go ahead and grab my rose from this scene. When you see a group of sparkles like this that are floating up like that, it's a hidden object puzzle. And what you have to do is find different objects within this list that they give you. So at the bottom is the list of objects I have to find, and this room is just a cluttered mess, or this area is a cluttered mess, but I still have to go through and find them. The list items that are in red, I've actually got to create them. So like with the triangle, I will end up moving the pencils together, and I'll show you that in a minute. But it's a case of sometimes these things are right in front of your face and you feel like an idiot, and other times it's like you're looking for the bat like the animal, and they want you to find the bat like the baseball bat. And it's been a while since I've done one of these hidden object games, or this type. See how I'm moving the pencils around? So now I'm going to make that triangle that it wants on the list. So now I've got the triangle, and that gets marked off. But yeah, I'm not going very fast, and you're probably seeing things on the list and going, it's right there. It's right there. I do eventually find most things. However, I also will use the hint and not apologize for using the hint. This is gaming for grandparents. We can take our time. We can go at a slower pace. We don't have to set any world records. It's okay. If I recall, I was having problems finding the wine glass because the wine glass that I end up finding is not a normal wine glass. I think it's more of a goblet, and that's why I was having problems finding it. But as you can see, I'm moving my mouse all around, trying to find all these pieces. Finally found the cat, but I had to move the hat. At the end of this, it's going to show us what object we earned for our inventory. So you do want to do each one of these puzzles because you're going to receive something that will help you in the next scene or in a previous scene. So you have to just keep going. And like I said, I'm still looking for that crazy wine glass. And I have been looking for it because it's number 2 on the list. So I've been looking for it the entire time. Because you kind of have, okay, I need to look for a cat, I need to look for a triangle, I need to look for a wine glass. So you kind of have this list of things in your mind that you've got to do, and been looking at it or looking for it the entire time. Watch what it ends up being, because I end up having to use hint because I cannot find it. Now I actually froze frame and I've zoomed in on it so you can see it. That's the wine glass. I didn't know I was looking for a wine glass from the Last Supper, but we got this bell chain for the door, so we'll use it coming up. And this just says, this is number 1 on Rue Cemetery. The man who asked us to talk to him is in this building, so we'll go in a minute, but we want to look and see if there's anything else out here. Okay, so I guess I need to go to the door here and see what I need to do at the door. Okay, so I jiggled the handle fell off, so now I have a door handle. So that's part of my inventory, so I have to apparently fix their door. But now I found a screwdriver, which is great because I can use that screwdriver back at the first scene to pull that grate off of that one stone. But my chain goes there, but apparently I need more stuff, and I'm just picking things out of my inventory trying to see if anything will work, and it tells me at the top that doesn't work here. So I'm like, okay. But that's sometimes what you do, is you just pull stuff out of your inventory until you can figure out what is missing. And in this case, I need to find a bolt. Well, I know that I need the screwdriver for that first scene, so I'm just going to go back to this first scene and use the screwdriver to get whatever's behind here. And literally, I'm just pointing the screwdriver at each one of these little bolts, and it's doing its job. And now I can pull that rose out that I need, but I also have the bolt that I need for the door. So now I'm just going to run my mouse around each one of these scenes and see if there's anything else that I need to grab from any of these scenes. But I'm pretty sure the first 3 scenes are completely done. I should not need to come back to them again.
Look out. You weren't hurt, were you? Something is going on upstairs. We must get to Julienne quickly.
So that incident opened up a new section with a picture of Victorine in a frame, and I'm just moving my mouse around trying to see if there's anything else. I realize I can move the brick out of the way. That's now part of my inventory, but there's something else there, but I'm going to have to find something to shovel it out. So let's go back to the door and fix the door. As you use items from your inventory, they will disappear. For example, I just used that bolt, so it's not there anymore. Now we're inside and we're just going to look around and see what we can find. Great, just found a shovel and a bucket. So I moved the mouse around, but I can't fix that because there's steam there. So I go back outside and that hidden puzzle has opened up again. I'm either going to fast forward or cut through these list type games and only show you what I got for my inventory. So you'll see just the beginning to know it's there and the end. I found the last item and got a hook for my inventory. Now I'm going to move the mouse around and back to this space and use the shovel to get whatever's buried. And it's a wooden block for the mailbox. So I go back inside and I see this little gizmo here, and I realize that this is where that switch is that I found, and I found a rose. I look at the mailbox, decide I can't do that, so then I look at the back door, realize it needs a door handle. Well, I just so happen to have a door handle, but the door is locked, so I've got to find a key.
Once again, the specter appears before us. I do not understand whether she means to help us or hinder us.
So I need to get up the stairs, but the stairs are broken, so I can't get up there until I figure out a way around these broken stairs. So I need to get up to that room, but I'm not going anywhere. So let me go back down and see what else I can do. I still need to fix these pipes before I can access those mailboxes. So I'm looking around trying to figure out what else I can access to help me progress in the game. So I'm just spastically moving my mouse around, trying to figure out what's going to work and where. So I move back up to the stairs and I realize I have a hook, and I'm going to see if the hook can help me with anything in this section, because I feel like maybe I can pull, and it worked, that board loose, and now I should be able to get up past the stairs. So that worked. Now I'm looking at this lampshade and I'm going to break this glass to get a key, most likely to the back door or to room 13. So this is room 13's key. Let's go in.
Go away. Please. Don't come any closer. Don't try and stop me. I no longer wish to live.
Please, my friend, try and calm down. We've come at your request to investigate the death of Madame Victorine Lafourcade. Why don't you give me the rope, and let's the three of us talk, shall we?
No. What have I to talk about? My beloved Victorine promised to write me not long ago, but then she suddenly passed away, and her letter never came. I am beyond distraught, and without her, I see nothing worth living for, and I never got a chance to say goodbye.
I am truly sorry for your loss, Monsieur Julien. But before you do anything rash, please, give me and my associate a chance to find Victorine's letter. Perhaps it will bring you some peace. We'll be back very soon.
So I click on the sparkles and I have another hidden object puzzle. So I end up using the hint button to get the lever for the steam downstairs.
Detective, please, tell me you found Victorine's letter.
I'm just clicking around the room and I accidentally clicked him, and he'll keep saying that until I bring the letter. But here's a portrait, another portrait of Victorine and the rose. So she was beautiful. Well, he's certainly deeply affected by the loss. And I got a brush. So I am going to go back downstairs and put that new lever that I just got, or lever that I just got, in so I can turn off the steam so I could get to the mailbox to try and find the letters. Earlier I got that block from outside when I dug it up, and I have to get this block all the way over to this little hole and get it to pop into the hole, because apparently that's how the keys work in this game. And this is just one of those mini puzzles that I can skip it, but I have to wait until, if you look in the lower right hand corner, until that becomes completely opened up, and then it'll flash, and then I could skip it. But just as I'm about to give up on this crazy thing because it's annoying me, I finally figure it out, and at the very last second before I hit the skip, I get it to fall in, and there's nothing in the mailbox. So it wants me to do this again for another mailbox, and I decide that I'm going to skip it. And I found the letter where the postman had put it in the wrong box, but we have Victorine's letter.
Oh, Detective, I am without words. You don't know what finding Victorine's letter means to me. Her letter says she still loves me, and that her husband's temperance has been changing as of late. I cannot read any. Detective, I implore you to discover the conditions of Victorine's death and to find where she's been buried. I've tried to do this myself, but every time I would visit the Fours' home, I was turned away. They do not think me a societal equal to them, so they owe me no explanation. Without your help, I fear there will be no resolution to this matter, and Victorine will never rest peacefully.
Fear not, Monsieur Julien. My associate and I do not make a habit of giving up on investigations. We will discover the truth for you. Now, if you please, give us the rope and promise us that you'll wait for our return without doing something you'll regret.
Yes, I promise, Detective. If I may, I suggest you begin your search at the cemetery and speak with the groundskeeper there. When you discover where she's been buried, please come and let me know.
And now we have the rope as part of our inventory, and we have to do the hidden object puzzle again. So once again, I use the hint, and it helps me find the key, and the key is what we need to get out of the back door. Then I accidentally click on him, and he talks to us again.
Welcome back, detectives. Have you been able to learn where Victorine was buried?
Okay, well, since we just got the back door key from that hidden object puzzle, we can go to the back door, go outside, and do the next step. And now we're in some town square, and I have another hidden object puzzle. So I use the hint to grab the last piece, and in exchange I get a palette knife. Not sure what I'm going to use that for, but let's see what else is around for us to look at. So apparently I need to look at the angel. There's something going on here. A wooden peg would be great wedged here for removing the wing. I don't know, it seems wrong to remove a wing on an angel, but apparently that's what the game is going to want me to do. Got a barrel here, not sure what I need to do with it yet. Then I see the barrel here, and I try different things in my inventory to see what's going to work. I see the rose, decide to move on. I again look around with my mouse, see the faucet, realize, hey, I've got a bucket here. So I use the bucket and I get a couple of little pieces to a puzzle, but I don't have a handle on the faucet. So looks like I'm going to have to find the handle. Let's go talk to this guy.
Greetings, my good man. I am Detective Dupin, and this is my associate. Would you be so kind as to allow us to search the cemetery grounds?
I'm afraid I must ask you to come back tomorrow. It is too late, and I've a good deal of work that needs doing. Now, should you bring me some water so that I could wash the windows of the hut, then perhaps we could make an arrangement.
So I see the valve for the faucet, so I grab it. Then just look around.
Welcome back, detectives. I hope you've brought some water for me.
And I accidentally clicked him, so now I need to go back up here to the faucet. Let's attach our valve and get some water in this bucket for that dude. Great, now we've got the bucket in our inventory and maybe he'll let us explore.
Welcome back, detectives.
Here you are, sir. Just as you requested.
Thank you, my friends. You've scratched my back, so now I will scratch yours and let you into the cemetery. May I ask why you wish to search the grounds?
We were hired to look into the death and burial of a loved one. She passed away just recently.
I see. I seem to recall a young woman being buried not too long ago. The gravediggers told me that her husband was very generous and paid them extra to complete the burial quickly. I assume he was overwhelmed with grief and wanted to put it all behind him quickly.
Do you happen to remember the name of the man who paid your gravediggers?
Let's see. Raoul? Rene, was it? No, Renel. Yes, it was Renel. I believe his is also a member of the city council. Now that I think on it, this wasn't the first time he was here. Monsieur Foray's previous wife passed away a few years ago, who was also buried in haste.
So the plot thickens and I need to find something to open up this lock. The lock mechanism is jammed. I need a thin object to fix it. And of course I try everything in the inventory and nothing works. So moving on. Well, we saw the ghost again. And I've got glitter over here or sparkles over here. So I've got to do another hidden object puzzle. So I needed a lit candle. So I found the candle and stuck it in the fire. And I got a piece of relief. And I found a rose. So we continue to look around, see the angel, see the peg, and now we have that piece of wood that we need for the wing of the angel. So we'll look at this crypt right here.
Please, release me from my burden.
Okay, good to know. Found a rose. But we don't have everything we need yet, or do we? Ah, that palette knife that I found is scraping this moss off of this crypt. And now we see where those bas relief pieces are needed, so we can go ahead and put the ones in that we need, but it looks like we still have 2 more pieces that we need to find. So we keep looking till we find all the pieces of the puzzle, and now, there's another piece. Awesome. So let's see what else we can find. So we'll go ahead and look in this section, and we have sparkles, which means we have a hidden object puzzle to play. Pretty much found everything, and we've got the dart, and we've got a spade. So let's see what else we can find in this area. Trying to use the spade on different spaces here. Found a rose, but I don't see where the spade is helping us yet. But I have found a grate in the ground here. Get these leaves moved out of the way so I can see what I've got to work with. And the screwdriver does work on the grate, so that's awesome. Gotta get the rest of the leaves off there. And the screwdriver is once again useful. So now I can move the grate, and I've got a puzzle to figure out. It looks like I'm going to have to find a chain to get it to open up, so I'm going to have to figure out what I can use to cut that chain. So I don't see anything in my inventory to work, so I'm just going to keep looking around in this area, see what else I can find, and I found a hairpin. Hopefully that will work on that shed lock that we saw earlier. But I've also got to figure out the puzzle on how to get that pump to work. So I quickly move back to the shed lock and use that hairpin to help me get that lock open, so I can get this door open, so I can grab some things that I may need, and I find pliers and a hammer. Alright, so let's take our pliers and our hammer, and let's see, I've got the wood peg, so I'm going to go ahead and detach the wing. So now I have the wing for the other statue. So let's go back to that area, and before I attach that wing, let me go ahead and use the pliers and cut that chain. So let's get this mini puzzle up and going, and I'll tell you already, I messed this puzzle up because I kept moving the three, the little things that I'm moving there. But in actuality, those little brass things at the bottom could also be moved, and I didn't realize it, and I didn't even try to move them. So I could not get past this level. So I kept trying to move those into a manner where I would have three, and I thought I had it, but it still wasn't working. And it doesn't matter what I was doing, it wasn't working. And I just could not figure this puzzle out. So the solution is to skip it. So the solution on these mini games, get stuck, just skip them. And I'm glad I did. Look at all those levels I had to get through. But we've got the water on. The bowl is full. We've got a bunch of water in there. And I know that I need water for another spot. So I'm going to grab my bucket. And I'm going to just fill up my bucket with water. And then I'm good to go. Now, because I've played this game before, I knew I had to have that bucket of water for when I go on this side of the square, and this window needs to be cleaned. So I had to get some water to be able to clean this window, to be able to see inside of it. But I don't have a rag yet, I don't think, or do I? But of course I'll try everything in my inventory to see what is going to work, and nothing's going to work. I've got to find a rag to finish that off. So I can't get into the city yet. I've got to find the key to be able to open that door. So now I'm just going to go back here and see about the wing. But I see that I have another hidden object puzzle to play. So I'm going to play that real quick. So I use the hint for the last thing, and I get a rag to finish cleaning that window. So I go back to that side, and I go back to that window, and I have my rag, and I just start wiping the windows. As you can see, we're not going to get a job to be a professional window cleaner, but we have to get into this area to get some more items that we need to progress the game. The window is too heavy to open it, so we need a hook. I kind of feel like we should have tried to open it before we cleaned the windows, but oh well. It's a game, it's not logical. Unfortunately, I have a hook so I can open up the window, and great, I have another mailbox key, and I have a report. So the report basically is talking about the code to open up the gate and what we will need to do, because apparently it changes ever so often, and so we're going to have to find the code to open up the gate. So we will start looking for a code, or keeping our eyes open for a code. And now we have a key to get into another mailbox. So let me look around this area. I found another rose, and I found a knife. And let's see what else I've got. A torn piece of paper. Let's see what's under there with using the knife. Got a peg, or a pub handle. Okay, so I have a handle for the pub. So I'm going to look around here, see if I can find anything else. I don't. I go back to the mailboxes, I take the key to the mailbox, and we see if I can get into another mailbox. Or if I'm going to hit skip again, which is probably going to happen. Or not. And we have another letter with the code to the gate. So that code is actually going to be in the notebook, so I don't have to write it down or memorize it. I can just keep looking at the notebook. But I've got to clear a path to try and see if I can see what I do or where I put that code. So once I get the vines cleared, I realize I have to have a screwdriver or a wrench, and in this case I need a wrench to unbolt this. So now I've got to go find a wrench. So I go back to my angel and I go ahead and put the wing on there, and I get a piece of glass, and I have something for that, and it gives me a rainbow with an X marking the spot, and I have my spade. So now I'm going to dig something up, and let's see what I get. It looks like it's our final piece of the bas relief, or bas relief. So we have another mini puzzle to do. I've got all the pieces in there, so I'm going to move these pieces around until I can get it to look like what it's supposed to look like. And not only can I pick them up and move them, but then I can rotate them. So that's what I'm doing, and I've just fast forwarded through this. It does take me a few minutes to actually get this all figured out. It's not like I have the box picture to look at to go, oh, okay, that goes there. So I'm just twisting things around until I figure it out. And I will say, once I get it all put together, it is very pretty. A little bit too ornate to me, but it's pretty just the same. As I get the pieces in the right slot, you can see they'll light up, and then I can't move them anymore. So I know that that's the right spot. Well, that was dramatic. Alright, missing a part here, so I can't finish that. So we'll go over to the sparkles, and it's a hidden object puzzle. And we'll get to working on this real quick. Okay, so we're almost done with this puzzle. Just need to find 2 more pieces. Got them. And there I have a part that I needed for that other puzzle. I need that wrench, but I can't reach in there because there's a spider there. Right, looking at the plate, it says Louise 4. Is she related to Renelle? Okay, I have all the pieces for this puzzle. I can put them inside, and I'm supposed to put them inside that space that I finally realized that's where it's supposed to go. And then what do you know, it actually works really well once I get it in the right spot. And this is a lock that's going to open up another area. Okay, so it's done and it opened up the floor. So now we can go downstairs underneath the crypt. So let's go downstairs and see what we can find. We open up the locket, we see a man and a woman. It says the woman in the photo looks like the ghost who has been haunting us.
You have learned the truth, as I knew you would. In life, I had a condition in which I would fall into a deep, death-like sleep. My husband, Renelle, knew this and let them bury me alive, as he was after my family's money. Now, in death, I want nothing more than revenge, and I will have it.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Alright, so I'm just going to keep looking around. I have a stone sword. I found another rose and I found a hook. So I think I need the rope to tie to the hook. So now I have the hook and the rope and they put together really nicely. So awesome. I now have that in my inventory. And it doesn't look like there's anything else in this room. I think I've exhausted this area, so let's get out of here and let's use the hook to get to this wrench and pull this wrench out. And now we have a wrench for the city gate. So we have sparkles on our left, so we'll do another hidden object puzzle. We use our hint for the last one, and we get that, and we get a glove for our inventory. So I think we're done with this crypt. I think we can go back to the city gates now with the wrench. Just checking one more time to make sure there's nothing else in that space or this space or this space that we need to find. And then I'll check this space to see if there's anything else we're needing to find. And it looks like we're good to go. Let's go to this space and see what else we need to find. It doesn't look like there's anything else for us. So we will head back up to the other area and see. Oh, he's back.
Sir, I feel I should tell you that Louise Foray, Renelle's first wife, was not dead when she was buried.
Heavens, how could such a thing be true? I remember Madame Foray's funeral some years ago. I always thought it strange that a man of means like Monsieur Foray would have such a quiet and discreet funeral, much like the most recent one for Victorine.
I should say that there is an obvious link between the two deaths, Victorine's and Louise's. They were both married to Monsieur Foray and died relatively shortly after being married. Then he buries them both with little to no public presence. I believe at this point it is prudent to investigate Monsieur Foray. We must discern his motive for killing his wives and find irrefutable evidence of his guilt.
I completely agree. So I'm just going to check around, see if there's anything else here. No, we've been in good graces with him. So let's go to the city gate now that we have the code. And let's see if we can get inside the city. Okay, so the code is saved in our notebook, so I don't have to worry about it being written down anywhere else or memorizing that code. I should be able to, once I get all these bolts loosened, to be able to access the panel to deal with the mini game for the code. So I have to actually get the code, the ball basically, for the code, but I have to do it in reverse order. So I click on this until I get it to where I want it to be, and then I can drop it by hitting the arrow down at the bottom. And I experiment, and I think I grabbed the wrong one. I did, so I reset. So now I'm going to go ahead and move, and now that I know exactly which one of these actually does that, but I forgot the code, so I'm actually going to go to the notebook and flip back a few pages until I get to the code, and it's 5481. I should have checked the notebook before going in there, but I was trusting my memory, and then my memory decided to bounce. I want 5481, I have to go in reverse order, which is 1845. So that's what I'm spinning around and going to grab the different balls until I get the code. Whoops, I messed up there. And dropping all the code down. So now I have it. Now I have another step in which I have to place the balls into these types of things here, but I have to rotate these little paths here to get the ball to fall into the right one. So the one ball needs to go into the lower right hand corner, but that one is going to pop it into the 8, and that's not going to work. But I realize that I have something at the very bottom, so I can rotate it down like that and it'll bounce up into this spot. So the 8 is much more straightforward, but when I go to the 4 I have to do that bouncing thing again, but I've got to turn my bounce around so that the 4 will bounce into the bottom left. And that worked. Now the 5 is pretty straightforward, so there we have it. I got the puzzle, I got the door open. And now we're at the door to the pub, and I think that's where we're going to end today's video. This is a 3-part series, so come back tomorrow night to see part 2, and then Halloween will be the last part. Again, this has been Dark Tales, Edgar Allan Poe's The Premature Burial. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.